radiogram contains scenes of death.
Just eaten a girl's swimmer. Well, Mr. Jaws, how was it? And what did she say when you grabbed her?
604. Can I tell you about the secretary who said she'd do anything for a mink coat? Now she can't button it. It's really embarrassing. Good. 606. I tell you, the gay lib had an entry at the Commonwealth Games, 100-yard dash, and they got disqualified for skipping.
A 16-year-old girl raped, beaten, and left for dead in a snow-covered...
There was smoke down a man. Take me through the centuries to suicide. And I know how it's to be. There's nothing
What happened to those silly love songs?
Tie me down somehow in a quiet place. Better to hold me back. Better the love you gave. Better than the wider world. Better the silence.
Sharron Prior had been found 3 days after she gone missing. Her left hand was clutching a branch, and she was frozen stiff. Her pants and underwear had been removed. She'd been bound by tape. Her bra and t-shirt had been pushed up, and she had bite marks on her breasts. Her underwear had been hung on a branch. A flag of honor, the cops figured. Papers called it a crime of passion, but there didn't seem to be much passion about it. The coroner report wasn't to reveal too many surprises. The teen hadn't been a virgin. It appeared the week she'd gone missing, she'd had consensual and non-consensual sex. And a killer or killers took their time, enjoying what she had to offer. And he used every hole that she had for his own sick, twisted pleasure. From the footprints in the snow, investigators figured that the killer or killers took turns bringing her from the car outside back into the car, where she was continually raped and beaten. Sharon's hands were tied behind her back with a man's shirt. There was semen on that shirt, semen in her underwear, and semen in her. She was beaten unconscious, and it appears she was left there while she drowned on her own blood. Sharron had left the house at about 7 p.m. to meet up with some friends and a boyfriend at a nearby pizzeria, and although only a 5-minute walk away, she never made it. When she hadn't returned by 11, her mom called the cops. By chance, police had received a report that very night about a man with brown hair and blue eyes had attempted to abduct a girl and pull her into her car by knife point. And by chance, it was on the same street as the pizzeria. Police told her mother it's most likely she'd run off and she'd be back in a couple of days and not to worry. They didn't really believe that, because Sharron was reliable, and although friendly, she was cautious. She knew what she had. She'd always called home if she was going to be late, and there was no evidence she went anywhere. She'd left her bus pass in her bedroom. Before Sharron had gone to the pizzeria, she met with an older friend in her bedroom, and they were heard whispering. When police interviewed that friend, she told them that Sharron had confided with her that she'd been seeing an older guy on the side. If Sharron was supposed to meet her 4 friends, including her boyfriend, at the pizzeria, when she didn't show up, why didn't they say anything? Sharron only lived 5 minutes away, so why didn't they walk over? Cops figured something didn't add up. They knew they were a caper. They just couldn't put their fishy French-Canadian finger on it. Sharron was the oldest of 3 sisters, but she also had a foster brother who was living with them. Police were interested to find out more about their relationship. Were they close? Maybe too close. They also wanted to find out about her boyfriend. Did he have older brothers? What was their relationship? And if cops were wondering when she was going to turn up, they didn't have to wonder too long, because it was 3 days later. A beekeeper found a body on his property. One thing that the cops noticed immediately was that the body had been found on a gated private road and the padlock had been opened, which made the cops wonder if the beekeeper had got sick of bee honey and wanted the taste of something sweeter. But the keeper feigned ignorance and said he must have forgot to lock it. When questioned if there could be a duplicate key, he said no chance. And when cops checked him out, except for a few parking tickets, the keeper walked cleaner than the sole on a paraplegic's boot. A paraplegic beekeeper's boot. And what there was snowstorm in 20 years, if there were any evidence, cops were gonna have to wait to spring thaw. When cops checked out the foster brother, and although a little weird, and he had a girl's underwear in his possession, but the family couldn't confirm if they were Sharon's or not, and although he had his driver's license, he didn't have a car. 15 miles is a long way to walk. Cops interviewed 80 possible suspects, including the boyfriend. But they were all clean, and the case went cold. It was almost 50 years later, when French cops, who I guess were having a slow month, or maybe had a little extra money to spend, reopened the case and started poking around. And they ran the jizz that they found in Sharon's underwear through the jizz detector. And the jizz detector never lies. And up came the name of the Romine family, white trash from West Virginia. And with a little more poking around, they came up with the name of one Frankie Romine. And although from West Virginia, Romine had been living in Montreal at the time of the murder. In fact, just down the road. And he had a rap sheet longer than a retard's tongue, licking ice cream off of his own pecker. And he'd served time for a rape conviction in 1974. And if that wasn't enough, he matched the description of the creep who tried to abduct a girl at knife point just down the road from the pizza parlor the same day that Sharon went missing. And how his name never came up as a suspect, it beggars belief. When cops checked his whereabouts, they found out he died in 1983 from a mysterious death, and he was currently kicking up dirt in West Virginia. And although the family protested digging up his final resting place, because he'd been buried next to his mother, and I guess to protect his good name, well, they did it anyway. And it wasn't a wasted trip for the Canadian cops, because bingo, they got themselves a match.
The resolution of this cold case is based on new investigative techniques, but also advances in forensic biology.
The solving of Sharon's case will never bring Sharon back, but knowing that her killer is no longer on this earth and cannot kill anymore brings us to somewhat of a closure.
It's not what you think it is. It's something else. Not as bad as it could have been. I only hurt myself. So give me a fucking break. Just a little one. There's only so much you can take. So maybe this time you give me some.
Legion forever!
That book says no more.